Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline studio. I'm Sybil Muschik. Behind the camera is Joshua Blog. Well, today we're going to run amok with some shapes, and being that kind of season, we're just going to go for it, have a lot of fun. And these shapes here are an ice formation. There's sort of bubbles and ice forming. So it's quite appropriate to the season. And we're going to start with just cutting some shapes out. I have some already, and I'll just quickly demonstrate how I do this. And I like to use my X-Acto knife for cutting. Some people prefer scissors. I just like the X-Acto knife for some reason. And we're just going to take in some odd shapes here. There's no saying you have to follow it exactly the same way as on the photograph. This is just cardstock. And a little bit more here, and then we've got it. And it's kind of nice. This is almost shiny, but not too shiny. Like photo paper is sort of close to cardstock, but it wrecks your gel plate, so not a good idea. Right, okay, so we have a nice stencil, and then we have all the shapes, and we'll use those as masks. Eventually we're going to try and get as close to replicating this as we can with, you know, maybe some small variations. And we'll see how that goes. All right, so first of all, our tools and accessories here. We're doing the Amsterdam acrylic paints. I've got a little bit of golden open medium, and I have some Liquitex soft body acrylic that is, this is silver. I have gold running around here somewhere. Our X-Acto knife, as we said, our Baron, maybe this for our little painting knife or palette knife. And probably we will need a little extra little palette here for color. And I'll probably tell you the colors as we're using them if you're, you know, it's pretty straightforward. Your standard colors, you know, phthalo blue and Prussian blue, etc., etc. Okay, let's do a pale color in the background first. So we're going to start with a light blue. Not too much paint. And my brayer, that's what we're missing. Just brayer it out. And I have, you know, I have a plan to follow, sort of, but you know, I tend to change my mind midway through, so which is probably a good thing you haven't seen my plan. So, all right, so we're going to lay some of these on here, and we're not going to follow. That's the whole point of this shape thing. Is these are all very interesting shapes, and we're just going to sort of design them a little bit. And maybe up here. These are from earlier. I really like this shape, so let's put that one there. I know it's okay if we overlap. And then we're going to print. We're just using copy paper. This is Staples copy paper, good quality and acid-free. I think it's about 90 pounds, something like that. Not very heavy. And you're going to just lift the paper up and then take off these. And take it from the other side. And this side. Put it down there. Use your Baron. A little bit more. I just want to get that sort of intaglio. We're going to get it on the next one. Oops, we lost one of these guys. Okay. Haven't got quite the edges, so okay, it's all right. Well, I was hoping for these outlines to print as well, but that's okay. We'll get on the next run. So we'll just use, let's use our, this is Naples yellow, and this will pick up everything. When you're using the bigger plates, your paint dries so much faster as you're rolling it out, so sort of you can always add a little bit medium. We didn't add any this time. I'm not going to worry about registration too much. We're just trying to pick up some color. And this time we got the line effect of the shapes. So isn't that interesting? So by going off a little bit, it becomes really dynamic and interesting. And then of course the Naples yellow will make the blue a little bit greenish, which is kind of interesting. So, all right, so that's one. Okay, color change. I'm just going to leave what's on there on there. And since it's the season, we will do some dots on here. This is sap green. And I'm going to just have this close by because I want it to be more of a turquoise green. And by mixing those two. Okay. You don't want them too close together, so I'm going to roll them out this way. And then burr off. Otherwise you'll get mud. So we'll have sort of shapes floating in the background and some shapes floating in the foreground. All right. And I'm just sort of not quite throwing them on willy-nilly, but close enough. We want them to be dynamic. Need a small shape somewhere. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, I'm just lining up my plate. I think I've told you before is if you have seen previous videos, I hope. And we'll just pull it off directly so that there's white. And then we'll pull off all these little shapes. And then I'll put a release coat on it. Now this time the intaglio effect will be quite dramatic. Now let's use the, this is a warm gray. It's just for the release coat. And let's add a little bit of silver to that. Figures. I haven't opened it yet. Oh no, we have to do the usual pry this thing off. Do you have this problem? There's pill bottles that have, and shampoo bottles that have these tiny little tags, and you're in the shower trying desperately to pull these things off, and it just about kills you. It's very maddening. Right. This has to be not too heavy duty or it will not show up in your print. So brayer off any excess. Okay. Now rub hard because you need to release that layer underneath. Now, have we lost our shapes or do we still have them? Oh, we have them a little bit. Let's have a look. Oh, yes. Now, isn't that fabulous? All our little shapes are there, and we have these nice color shapes in the background. And it's, you don't quite see it yet, but there's quite a shimmer from the silver. Yes, lovely. Okay. In order to get color on those things, let's do this. And go back to this one. We'll just create a rosy glow on top of everything. And we'll just take it plain and then see what happens. The background will become more muted and then the shapes will take on the red glow. Hopefully. Yes. There you go. It's starting to look like a little figure. All right. So onward and upward here. Let's go back to our Naples yellow. Brayering out. So I must say thank you to all our subscribers for subscribing because we're getting to that magic 1K number. Only 20 to go as we speak, so that's quite interesting. I'm just going to push it down and then I'm going to take off a little bit of stuff, I think, but not much. We just damp it off. Give our shapes a little bit of texture. Okay, this is tracing paper. Let's see what happens to tracing paper. Sometimes these lighter papers will pick up a little bit more of the background. And there's all sorts of papers like this. So your oriental papers, tissue paper, deli paper. Let's have a look at that. Ooh. That's picking up all sorts of stuff. So what we should do now is just put a very light coat, maybe of the silver. Okay, so it's lovely to work with these really iridescent kind of metallic paints. Now we're just going to move a couple of things here, and we will try and line this up this way. This is another way to work. And you should do pretty good. And now we're getting wrinkles too, which is an added bonus. And now, let's see if the camera can pick this up. It's very shimmery, very pale, ghostly. These little ghostly shapes. Okay, we can work with that. And we just leave that on there. Now let's go back to our blue. Maybe a bit of green. So far we haven't got anywhere close to replicating anything. Josh is chuckling in the background there. And that's not the point after all today anyway, so we're just working with shapes and having them be interesting. And let's put our stencil back here. Just making sure that it fits on there. And again, we'll take off a lot of the paint. You could use a brush to do this. And, you get some really interesting texture. But I think this will work pretty good. And now it's not going to be, the shapes are going to be very subtle again. not as subtle as I thought it was going to be, so that's perfect. Very nice. Look at the gorgeous texture, and then we have a nice background. And a little tiny red blob, which I don't know how that got there, but anyway, crop that off. Wow. So our shapes are becoming quite dynamic, and it's almost like they're taking on a life of their own. So as they start moving through this whole exercise, they're taking on a lot of character. This is Prussian blue. And let's do a little bit of, what is this anyway? I guess it's phthalo blue. It's a bit lighter than the usual phthalo blue, but that's okay. Different brands have different characteristics. It's all supposed to be fairly standard, but it never is. Now we have some nice background shapes already. So, okay, let's find our little now you can arrange them. As I said, they're starting to develop character, so give them some kind of dynamic arrangement that makes them feel like there's some interaction going on between them. Like a shape conversation. And this one is out of the picture, being left out of the conversation. And the shapes don't have to be totally present. You know, they could be sort of running away or doing something. It's very therapeutic to start making up stories for yourself about these things. Let's print this. And again, we'll take the shapes away as we're printing. Do a good job of the background. And slowly we can remove these. Now all of this is just playing. I'm not worrying that it's not going to turn out, you know, that it's not going to be gorgeous. I don't really care. I'm learning as I'm going here what works, what doesn't. And now we're going to just put that back. We'll try and pick up a little bit of the underneath. There are times where you just should be playing and start discovering. Not everything goes into an art gallery or is a gift, or, you know, there are times where you need to be in the studio and playing, discovering, and that's how we progress. Then your art isn't always, you know, the same and boring stuff. Whoa, look at this. Wow. Now that's totally unexpected because I thought this would be a little darker, but I think And we have outlines, the intaglio outlines, almost like a ghost print. Now they're starting to almost look like sea creatures. There's an eye. You know, some of our sea fishes are really odd shapes. There's an eel. That's a manatee. You'll see it yourself, right? Right, okay, we're going to put a light color on here. I had my medium here for a reason. We're going to add a little bit of the open medium. So this is going to be a little bit more fluid. Now we're likely not going to pick up much in the background, some of the lovely grungy things. So this is a way of making, well, for once, you know, we probably don't have to worry too much about it drying on us instantly, because that's an open medium and it lasts a little bit longer. But also it makes the paint a little more transparent. Doesn't really alter the tone or anything like that. It just gives us a little more working time. And again, find some relationships here with your shapes. Make them play together nicely. Whoops. Some shapes are just bullies. Look at that. It just overlapped the... and just wanted to be the center of attention. Here we go. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. We'll print it on here first. I'm hoping there's going to be a ghost print to put on our tracing paper. Nice, okay. Just to be different, I'm starting at the top this time. In art making, it's a good habit to not always do things the same way. And you can see the color already is not breaking up so much. The medium really has helped to slow everything down a bit. So when we print this, should be picking up a lot of details. Look at this. Whoa. Our lovely shapes. Still picking up a tiny bit of silver and a few other things here from the remnants of things before. So this reminds me of a map of islands, you know, with little atolls and all that kind of thing. Again, the relationships are really interesting. Okay, I think we're heading close to the end here. So we're going to start with our Amsterdam Prussian blue. And this will probably be a two-stage affair. Right. Back to our shapes. Now you can gauge the distance you want with them, how they interact, how much, like, have a look and see the spacing, like, is that too close? Is that too far? You know, check it out. And then that fits nicely in there. This might fit in there. Just, that might be better there. And they almost fall into place where they want to be. And then you always have this last hanger on where you're not sure where you're going to place it, if at all. You might just end up removing it. Okay, I'm going to print this on tissue. And of course, we're hoping for some wrinkles to form. Take advantage of the qualities of your paper, whatever they are. And now look at this. These interesting air bubbles. Fuzzle. Okay, let's put this aside. We take all this off. So, okay, now what we're going to do here. I mean, we could clean off everything, but I think this blue will just cover. Oh, yes, and don't forget to tune in to our adventures because they're continuing all the time. You know, do the usual. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now we're just going to, we can line it up fair. Well, maybe I'll do it. Because we have nice edges on this, we'll try and do it properly. Well, I'm literally burrowing in or burrowing in some wrinkles because they are lovely. And here we are. Ooh. Well, it's not exactly like our photograph, but it gives you that icy, bubbly look that the ice gets. So there we are. We've replicated to some degree. Here's the original photograph. Our shapes, of course, are in different places. And there's all sorts of funny things like weeds and leaves and things. We have hints of that kind of thing. So anyway, well, it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope you will try this. And I hope even more that you are working along with me because it was fairly simple exercise. But join us again here at Shoreline Studio. We're always bringing in new material and checking the outside, the lake. By the way, the lake is trying to open again. We've had snow on and off. Watch our shorts. This is an ongoing adventure with the lake where it froze over nicely, then it snowed, then it thawed, then it snowed, and now it's thawed again. And I'm thinking it might just, if we could keep getting this warm weather, it's going to open up again. I don't think that's ever happened here before. We're sort of in a moderate climate where, you know, winters can be very cold, even up to 40, 42 degrees, or maybe even colder. It doesn't happen very much anymore, but it can. So take care. We'll catch you another time. Bye for now.